Damn, who know all the ways we go, good things we've been through. And now we standing right here talking to you about another path. I know we love to hit the road and laugh, but something told me that it wouldn't last. Had to switch up, look at things different, see the bigger picture. Those were the days, hard work forever pays. Now I see you in a better place. How can we not talk about everything that is all that we got? Everything I would do, you were standing there by my side. And now you won't be looking for the last one. Without you, my friend. And I'll tell you all about it when I see you again. We've come a long way from where we began. Oh, I'll tell you all about it when I see you again. When I see you again. First you both go out your way and the vibe is feeling stronger. With small turn to a friendship turn to a bond, and that bond will never be broken, and love will never get lost. And when brotherhood come first, then the line will never be crossed. Established it on our own, and that line had to be drawn, and that line is what we reach. So remember me when I'm gone. How can we not talk about family when family's all that we got? Everything I would do, you were standing there by my side. And now you told me with me for the last time. Let the light guide your way. Hold every memory as you go. And every road you take will always lead you home. Oh, it's been a long day without you, my friend. And I'll tell you all about it when I see you again. We've come a long way from where we began. Oh, I'll tell you all about it when I see you again. When I see you again.
We got a DJ.
Good evening, everyone. Can you all hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I'd like to take a moment before I turn it over to our Master of Ceremonies this evening, Mr. Anthony Williams, our current P-Tech House Principal at Newburgh Free Academy. I'd like to welcome all families, friends, and guests to the special 10th year anniversary of the Newburgh Free Academy P-Tech. As we go throughout the evening program, we will recognize a few individuals that have played an important role as part of not only the P-Tech program, but also prior to that, being able to get the program here at Newburgh Free Academy. So I see some members of our board, here our current board. Mr. Mark Levenstein is in the back. our Vice President. Mark, thank you for coming. I also see our Executive Director of Curriculum Instruction at the time that P-TECH was here, Dr. Daniel Shanahan. Also, our Board President at the time is Dawn Kuchek, and Board Member Pamela Reich, Pamela, hi, and our Deputy Superintendent in the back, Ed Forget. Throughout the evening, you will meet additional, our presenters and guests, and we'll announce their names and present them to you at that time. Tonight, you will learn and celebrate the many success stories about this program that we have been honored to be a part of for the last 10 years. We hope that you have the pleasant evening. And now, without further delay, I'd like to introduce our current house principal for P-TECH, Mr. Anthony Williams.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you all for coming. Good evening. The weather is not the best, but we're going to celebrate this special occasion. I want to recognize some of our SUNY Orange faculty and staff. So if you're part of the SUNY Orange faculty and staff, please stand up. I also want to recognize one of our other partners, our industry partner, IBM. If you're part of IBM, please stand up. Look at God, some of our students work for IBM now, part of their employees standing up. Now I want to recognize our students who are here, our former students. We're here because of you. Please stand up. Thank you. We're here because of all the hard work you guys have accomplished with the support of all the partners we just recognized. And, you know, this is a special occasion because of your hard work. P-TECH is one of the top, I'm a little biased, it's the top program in secondary education, they have to offer. And if you think I'm not telling the truth, I just want to share some data points with you. NFA North P-TECH has 300 graduates. 300 graduates. Think about that. 125 of those graduates have earned their associates in applied science. That's 42%. Not only that, NFA P-TECH has graduated students at a 98.5% graduation. And 94% of those students go on to earn their bachelor's. So like I said, we're here because of you, and we'll talk more, as we go along in the program. I want to introduce SUNY Orange president. She's going to welcome us. Dr. Christine Young.
It is always my pleasure, even when it's that gloomy out there. It's never gloomy in here. We are talking about students and student success and celebrating big things. So, my pleasure to welcome you to Orange County Community College, aka SUNY Orange, whatever you want to call us, it's fine. Welcome you to the Newburgh Ranch campus. Welcome you to Capitol Hall and this great room for this evening's celebration of 10 years of P-TECH, which means we are celebrating 10 years of some of the very, very, very best stuff that we do, which is collaborate, innovate, and put students first, right? So I assume tonight you're going to hear many times that P-TECH is a partnership between, you probably say it along with me, right? SUNY Orange, all right, Newburgh and Large City School District, okay, and IBM, okay, all right. But for my time at the podium this evening, I thought I might highlight some of the folks that might not usually get mentioned, particularly on the college's side of the collaboration, because it is 10 years, right? And some of the folks might get lost to time otherwise. And tonight's the celebration and the anniversary. Particularly, let me start with that theme of collaboration, right? And on the college's side, right, we got the SUNY part in our name. So first I want to acknowledge we're backed by that system behind us called SUNY, the State University of New York. I think of our Vice Chancellor, Johanna Duncan-Fortier, that some of you might have met through time, who's been a strong supporter of P-Tech. There's this guy some of you may have heard of named Stan Latow. Yeah, you might think of him as IBM. I think of him as trustee Stan Latow. He's on the SUNY board, so I know him on that way. Certainly SUNY thinks very, very highly of this program. There are other P-Techs. But SUNY is behind this. And behind SUNY is the state of New York. The money to make this happen comes from someplace. And the state of New York, year after year, thinks fondly of the power of this P-Tech program. You hear some of the success. So I'd like to acknowledge the state of New York this evening, and representing the state of New York is Linda Malabi. You're in the front row. That's the state of New York. Innovation. So we have collaboration, we have innovation. On the innovation side, those of us in the room right now, you know what, we probably get a little bit lazy at this point after 10 years of thinking about like this just kind of happened, right? But 10 years ago, I would probably suggest this whole thing was probably a little bit revolutionary to put this together, particularly in higher education. Nothing about, maybe something, but not a lot about this existed, right? Nothing in our statutes, nothing in our computer systems. Probably said, let's like have 14-year-olds, high schoolers without diplomas doing this thing called P-Tech. So I appreciate the moment to say some names that maybe haven't been said in a while that started this thing up and had the foresight to support P-Tech 10 years ago, starting with my predecessor, President, unfortunately, Dr. Bill Richards, who supported this at the college. Some other names that some of you in the room may recall, Dr. Heather Confetti, Dr. Pete Sosha, now Dr. Ann Cryle, Mary Ford, Judy Osborne, the first P-Tech coordinator, Dr. Mariah Adine, and also having since earned a doctorate, Stephen Whipple, all instrumental. Some other folks who got this program started, and I would say they were all still at the college, but all in different roles. So here's what happens when you're innovative. You do different things at the college. Cardi Warrington, Alex Kay, now also Dr. Joshua Warnia, who's in the room this evening. I got it. Stacy Mogenberg, and Donna Avery, also in the room. Donna, thank you for being here. That remember. And finally, I also said this was collaboration, innovation, and putting students first. First, front and center at SUNY Orange, but P-Tech means for us that students are first, front, and center, sometimes on high school campuses, oftentimes on the bus, sometimes at ages we're not used to them, and sometimes they don't have their high school diplomas yet. And so I want to acknowledge the team that continues to work on this and continues to innovate and collaborate for a job well done tonight, in the room tonight, starting with the nation's best provost, Dr. Eric. Thank you. Forward, Dr. Angela Rios, I saw this here. Angela is the Associate Vice President for Learning and Student Success. Another our Associate Vice President, I mentioned Josh Lavornia, who's in the back of the room now, Associate Vice President, and Dr. Josh Lavornia. Thanks, Josh. Bruce Roman is the Chair of Computer Science and Technology. Bruce, I know, Bruce will be speaking later. Here. Students in the room know John Coombs, yes? And Nancy Boylan, I saw as well. And here's the frightening part, whom do I work with that I just missed? Anyone? Computer science, technology faculty, absolutely, as well as the English faculty, all of who work with them. So thank you all for, this is one of the things that this college makes us exceedingly proud, and you make us exceedingly proud, and I'm glad to see so many graduates back here this evening. And thank you for planning this party. This makes our hearts swell and remember who I all in this. So thank you. And thank you, NFA and IBM for your continued collaboration.
So next, I would like to call our superintendent, Dr. Jacqueline Manning Campbell.
Good evening. Esteemed parents, guests, and colleagues. I am so glad that you are here along with our alumni, families, and most importantly, our students. As you know, the NFA P-TECH program is the ideal program for our scholars for our community. It connects academic rigor, career readiness skills, and community partnership in a way that aligns to provide our scholars a top-notch education in our community with skilled workers who are already active leaders in our neighborhoods. For the last 10 years, we have seen this program evolve in ways that may have seemed impossible at the start. When writing for a grant, we often are inspired by the possibility of what a program can offer, overwhelmed by getting it started, and then doing our very, very best to see the initiative succeed. We each play large and small roles that contribute to a program's success. And this program has certainly been a great success, so thank you. First, I would like to thank our community partners in both education and industry for believing in our scholars and educators. This program is challenging. There is no other way to say it. Earning a high school diploma while simultaneously earning a college degree, beginning in just 9th grade, 14 years old, as was just stated, is no small feat. Thank you for believing that our scholars could rise to this occasion. We know that they could not have done so without all of your support, guidance, advice, and encouragement that you have offered along the way. I have no doubt that the education our scholars receive outside of our classrooms and in your collegial and professional settings has been more valuable than we can quite put into words. I would also like to thank our educators. Your dedication and commitment to our scholars has been unwavering. From the educators and administrators who have supported this grant to those who are in our classrooms day in and day out, thank you very much. Thank you for bringing out the very best in our children. You have seen them grow from middle school students to the young adults they are today. You have gone above and beyond. What students learn from textbooks and put their lessons into context and practice on a regular basis. Several of you have quite literally shown our students the world right here in our own amazing neighborhoods to communities across the world. Thank you. Our scholars cannot find success in a program like this alone. Our parents and guardians at home are the first and forever teachers that our children will have. We know that many of you dedicated yourselves to helping our scholars progress through this program. Our parents are our partners. We cannot educate our students without you, and we appreciate you. So thank you. I am so glad to see so many alumni who have returned to this program. Whether it is to celebrate this evening, share your wisdom with our younger peers, and continue representing the program in our community. Newburgh Free Academy has a rich history of success and giving back to our community. We would not be here without our alumni. Thank you for carrying on that legacy. Last, but certainly not least, I would like to thank our students. As I mentioned before, our professionals will often develop program ideas and dedicate their efforts to helping our students succeed, but they cannot do that alone. It is up to our students to make the efforts a success. I know that there have been countless struggles and frustration, not to mention late nights and early mornings. Thank you for trusting our educators and leaning on one another to recognize the greatness within each and every one of you. I would like to leave you with this. This program is a prime example of how our scholars and our great community will rise to the challenges and set forth in them. This program demonstrates that our scholars are capable and that they are often brilliant. Our children have the hard work, resiliency, and determination to achieve success when they are given the opportunity and the proper support to do so. Everyone who has contributed to this program is a shining example of the Goldback standard. Thank you very much.
Give another round of applause for Dr. Campbell. Next, I would like to call up our co-principal, NFA, Mr. Matt Dotto. Principal Matt Dotto.
Again, good evening to everyone. I'm going to start with a story that I pretty much say this at every P-TECH celebration that we have in this room. I think it's so important, we were there, a few of us were there right from the beginning. And the story begins with, on May 2nd, 2013, when the governor's office released a press release stating that there was an announcement and invitation for letters of interest for the New York State Pathways and Technology, which is our New York State P-TECH. And shortly thereafter, at the time, I was the executive principal of NFA North and West and Maine. There was no NFA West at the time. I was directed to a meeting at the superintendent's office. At that time was Ralph Pizzo. But I didn't know why. I thought maybe they were going to yell at me for something, but I didn't know what I had done. Different with Dr. Campbell, of course. When I walked into the room, into the boardroom, there were people that I recognized, and there were people I did not recognize. And at that moment, they started to introduce each other. People from all of a sudden, it's people from IBM, people from SUNY Orange, and of course, Newburgh School District personnel and staff. And one of the things they asked me, and I remember vividly, Matt, are you interested in such a program? They had described the program, but before they could finish the sentence, I said, absolutely yes. The reason why that answer came so quickly is because it was an opportunity. And that's what we talk about when we talk about P-TECH or any program that offers opportunity for our students to gain access to this type of education. One we walked out of that boardroom feeling really excited about the opportunity. We hadn't done anything yet. We hadn't written a grant, we had not won anything yet. And there was no Kevin Rothman yet. There was no students yet. I don't see Kevin's face over there. He's coming up in a minute. And it was really unknown, right? There was Brooklyn, which I'm gonna get to in a moment. And it was just, I remember leaving the boardroom saying, wow, this is such an exciting and important opportunity for Newburgh. During that meeting, and as we left that meeting, we started to talk about what would an initial grant look like, a draft of the grant book. We talked about, there were emails going back and forth almost daily, sometimes 2-3 times a day about meeting. There were, of course, how would we visit Brooklyn to look at the Brooklyn P-TECH? And many things were going through that process since that day about how are we going to have P-TECH at an event in the Newburgh Memorial City School District. On August 28th, oh, by the way, the reason why I'm giving you these dates, this is like my P-TECH folder, way back to 2013. And there was an email, so I figured this would be the best way to describe the excitement, from Dr. Shanahan at 3:08 and 21 seconds p.m. on August 28th. And he writes, quote, "This just in, exclamation point. Congratulations to all, double exclamation point. We need to meet shortly, double exclamation point, referring to the following message. Hi, Dawn, Carrie, and Matt. Congratulations, the governor made an announcement today that you are among the winners of a major competition. I need, the word need all capitalized, a response from the Newburgh School District, and my deadline is in a couple of hours. Can you please tell me your reaction to this news?" The text below was written by my colleague and so on and so forth, and it would say, quote, "Governor announced the winners Wednesday of the competition to form public-private educational partnership based on IBM-sponsored school in New York City. Locally, the Newburgh School District and Kingston School District won the competition. IBM will sponsor the Newburgh District, which will also work with SUNY Orange. The school district's program will focus on information technology." And that is what happened that day. And I know, you know what's happening here, right? It said I have 1 minute left. That's P-TECH for you right there. Now, the most important email of all, because I mentioned Brooklyn, was that we needed to plan a visit to Brooklyn. October 21st, 2013, from Matthew McCoy to Sonia Dixon, God bless her soul, who was one of our grant writers, Matthew wrote to Sonia, "Who is driving the van to Brooklyn?" And an attachment to the email, how to clear your license so you can drive the van. Well, no one wanted to drive the van. No offense, Rashid. So Dr. Shanahan drew the short straw, stick, whatever. He wound up driving the van. His license was cleared so that we could do this and visit Brooklyn. And then I'll end with this. It was the worst van ride ever. Thank God that when we got to Brooklyn, it was a much better experience. But Dr. Shanahan loved cranking that van, and we got there safely and had an amazing visit. And I tell you that, and I know I'm over my time, I tell you that because it takes moments like that to really express how programs begin. Most of you probably never knew that all of those things were happening and how it got to Newburgh and the ability to have this opportunity for our students. And that's why we do what we do. So thank you. And I know I'm gonna run over my time. So Kevin, give me back a couple minutes. And now, I would like to introduce our founding house principal of P-TECH, Mr. Kevin Rothman.
Good evening. It's good to see everybody. It's good to reminisce and to look back at the things that all of us have played a part in accomplishing. In reflecting and preparing for tonight, as Mr. Gatto did, we looked through some artifacts from the past. And one of the artifacts that I came upon, for those of you that don't know, I was a math teacher in the district for 10 years at Heritage, prior to spending a few months as a STEM supervisor. And the reason that I left the classroom was two individuals in this room, Dr. Shanahan and Mr. Forget, on the phone with me in a museum in Washington, D.C., trying to convince me that it would be okay for me to be in the STEM supervisor position for only the year. They would allow me to go back to the classroom. They just needed my help with this initiative, and they really felt like I could contribute, right? So a few months later, the opportunity came up, and the position for house principal was posted. And again, I was a math teacher in the district for 10 years. The first part of becoming the house principal was a writing prompt. That I had to respond to that was going to be read blindly, right? So without our names and a rubric, and I'm pretty sure someone in this room came up with this writing prompt. So here's the writing prompt, right? So Newburgh Free Academy, P-TECH, is a grade 9 through 14 program that blends courses in high school and college with industry-based workplace learning and experiences. The goal is to graduate every student with an associate's in applied science degree that enables them to go on to a 4-year post-secondary institution or garner a job in the IT industry. A rigorous program such as this requires a very high level of commitment, motivation, and perseverance on the part of each student, teacher, staff, and school leader. How would you build and sustain a culture to best ensure successful student outcomes that meet the goals of the school and the program? Right, so this was in January of 2014. And I'm going to read my response to that prompt. I think it's actually pretty good. Newburgh Free Academy, P-TECH, otherwise known as Excelsior Academy at the time, will be a new paradigm for world-class education, using strategic partnerships to cultivate our students' inquisitive nature, exercise innovation, think critically, and work collaboratively to become leaders who are self-sufficient learners. We all play an essential role in establishing a school culture that will allow these students to overcome difficult circumstances and ultimately maximize their individual potential. The school culture must have several attributes: common focus, high expectation, and sustained personal relationships that all support an unwavering belief in the success of each student. During the summer of 2014, students and staff will begin their journey at NFA P-TECH. Although some of this work will be academic, significant time will also be spent building the mindset needed to be successful. The Academy's use of time, materials, and professional learning activities will intentionally be aligned to ensure successful student outcomes. We will build strong, positive relationships through collaboration, communication, and transparency with the Newburgh and Large City School District, IBM, SUNY Orange, and the community to reinforce and garner support for the goals of the program. This will serve to lay the groundwork for a culture of joint responsibility through a common focus of success for each student. Staff members will be dedicated and supported in engaging students in an ambitious and rigorous course of study that prepares them for success in work, further education, and citizenship. Students will come to us with a wide spectrum of needs and skills, requiring teachers to understand where they are coming from, where they need to be, and how to reach them. Students and teachers are consistently going to be asked to stretch themselves in a challenging environment in order to make progress towards personal goals. Teachers will be provided opportunities for collaboration during the school day and throughout the school year in order to build strong professional relationships and develop skills and plans to meet the needs of all students. In addition, teachers will work with SUNY Orange and IBM to improve student preparation and create work-based opportunities. The staff at P-TECH is the front line in establishing and maintaining high expectations and ensuring that every student is given consistent opportunities to progress and ultimately achieve their goals. During the journey of each student, they will face adversity and failure. Although these experiences may be painful, they cannot define the student. They are problems to be faced, dealt with, and learned from. We will work to establish multiple personal relationships for each student to maximize the support system in reaching goals. Each student must have sustained close relationships with teachers, the school leader, the college and industry liaisons, mentors, and their peers. The adults will serve as advocates, role models, and a support system in each student's personal plan for progress. Strong student relationships will build and become a motivating factor as the students face similar challenges and seek to achieve similar goals. Positive, sustained personal relationships will give multiple people a stake in the success of each student. P-TECH and Newburgh Free Academy will offer a new model that brings together the best elements of high school, college, and the world of work in order to prepare students for the complex and ever-changing global workforce. We must work tirelessly to create and maintain a culture geared toward the clear outcomes of an associate in applied science degree and career readiness for every student. The attributes of common focus, high expectation, and personal relationships will build and sustain this culture, maximizing the potential of each student. I honestly believe that we have been able to fulfill much of what was envisioned 10 years ago. Right? Much of what I spoke about is just sound educational practice, right? Of which every student, P-TECH or not, should be afforded. I'm certainly proud of the work that has been accomplished together. As we look back on the past 10 years, it's also important to look ahead to the future, a future filled with opportunities and potential. We need to continuously reaffirm our commitment to collaboration and excellence, innovation, and inclusivity, ensuring that every student who enrolls in P-TECH has the chance to thrive and succeed. I hope P-TECH continues to push the boundaries of what is possible, to challenge the status quo, and to lead by example in shaping the future of education. I really believe that the best is yet to come.
As Mr. Rothman just mentioned at the end, that the collaboration and building relationships, I think we all agree that that is what makes this work. So we want to take the moment right now for, as we went through when I spoke and now that Mr. Rothman expressed what he wrote in his statement and also how we are looking to the future, we have to look at the beginning, right? What really made this, and the word founding is important here because this is how we established our P-TECH program here at NFA. So we'd like to take a moment now to acknowledge our founding teachers. And when I call you up, Mr. Rothman, you're going to help me do this, please. So first, there's two teachers unfortunately could not make it due to some prior engagement that they needed to attend. So first, we'd like to acknowledge and recognize Ms. Joyce Bianchero, and also Mr. Eric Waloszewski. Next. All right, Miss Hesse, please come up. Can you just take this step out? Can you turn up the Mr. Torrance Harvey. And Miss Harold, Miss Christine Harold. So, while you stay up, please stay. Okay, I'm going to take a moment, Mr. Williams, if you could assist me, please. So, the next recognition is really important, and it's really both professional and personal for me, because what the little story I told you earlier, and when I kind of said, Mr. Rothman was not there yet, we kind of knew he was there, kind of told you the story. But what made this work is really the relationship that Mr. Rothman and I had. It was the first model of a school within a school, which is very difficult to pull off. And that's one of the most, in addition, obviously, our students are number one. That's why we were doing this. But us being able, the two of us being able to work together and believing in each other, with the end result always being about the kids, about the students, that's what made it work. Even when we disagreed, even when he would run into my office, close the door and say, "What was going on?" Right? But it was about us saying always, let's leave the ego at the door. Let's make this work. At the end of the day, it's about our scholars, it's about our students, it's about making sure we're successful for them. He doesn't like when I do this, so we're going to do it anyway. This is to Mr. Rothman as our founding. It reads, "With our greatest appreciation, NFAP Tech Founding House Principal Kevin Rothman." So, and as you can see, now one of the things as we're taking pictures that we feel we do we're best for our kids, as I mentioned earlier, even when we have open houses or when we do programs, we always have, we've said it multiple times, who can tell the story best but our students. So at this point, we're going to get to that point of the program because they're the ones who do the best job of telling us what we really need and what's important. So thank you guys so much for being around and for more than 10 years, right? All right, Mr. Williams, back to you.
We give them another round of applause. By the way, Mr. Rothman, you nailed that interview question. You nailed it. So without further ado, we're going to hear from our students. Students are going to share their P-TECH experience. Our first student is also an employee in our district. She's an alumni P-TECH student. It's Kayla De Leon.
Hi, everybody. Good afternoon. It's still afternoon, evening, I'm not sure. So I was gonna start off with the beginning of like my PTech timeline, but while I was speaking to Mr. Rothman, he reminded me that my timeline didn't exactly start in 2014. It started a little bit earlier than that. So in 2013, when I was still at Heritage Middle School, my mother let me know that there was gonna be a program coming to NFA North, in which, and I was only going to NFA North, there was no other option. My mother works at North, for those of you who do not know, and I was not a good middle schooler. So I was going to wherever she worked. So she sat me down, she let me know that there was this program that was coming, it was new. We were to be the guinea pigs of this program, and it would entail me committing my life to education for the next 4 to 6 years. And I said, well, Mom, the deal was for me to go to high school and graduate early. So I don't know how that works. And she still says, well, then you better get out in 4 years. And that's exactly what I did with the help of all of my classmates and my wonderful teachers. Of course, Mr. Archie. But I will start off with, in 2014, I joined PTech late because I was not selected to be part of the program in the summertime. Mr. Rothman, actually, I think he personally called my mom because I was so sad about it. I was the only person at the informational, apparently. And I didn't get in, and I was very upset about this, but it was okay because someone dropped out, thank God, and I took their place. So on the third day of school, of the school year of 2014, I joined PTech, a little bit late, but nonetheless, it was fine. Go through my PTech timeline a little bit. 2015, I failed my first AccuPlacer. We were supposed to get into college trigonometry. Absolutely just bombed it. Dr. Young, I apologize. Dr. Young probably remembers me because me and my mother and I were emailing her nonstop, like, please, can I please get into this this college course, because I did not place into college trig, but I did place into college algebra. And there were a lot of people who felt that I wasn't able to do it. But Dr. Young advocated for me. My mother advocated for me. I advocated for myself, which was arguably the most important part of it. And Eric Waliszewski advocated for me, which, if you know, I'm horrible at math. I was horrible at math at that time. So that was an amazing thing to see. And I got in, and my mom sat me down and she said, you cannot fail. Like, there is no way, you cannot fail. People are looking at you, there is no way. And I didn't. There wasn't an option for failure in PTech. There was this thing they used to say, like, failing isn't an option. That just was it. Like, you'd be like, oh my God, I don't know if I can do it. I don't know, I'm not gonna pass it. It's not an option. Like, that's just was the answer, it's not an option. The restless nights, the studying, the crying to each other. I remember one time coming in after one of my breakups. And Miss Hessie's like, are you okay? And I was like, you fake it till you make it, girl. And she's like, yes, you fake it till you make it. You better go into class and get your work done, because there is no crying here. There is no, you cry afterwards. You cry into your pillow. You cry to your classmates after that test is done, after that lab is due. And when I tell you, that was the most important thing that I needed to hear, that you can cry, but you cry after it. You cry through it, you cry while you're doing it, but you cry with the people that matter, and you work. What, my 1 minute left. Wow, you guys have a printout that says 1 minute left. Oh my goodness. Okay, let me go through my timeline a little bit faster. 2018, I graduated PTech. 2018, I graduated PTech and I got into SUNY Portland. Whoop, whoop. Don't get too excited. I partied too hard. I have to come home in 2019. Went back to SUNY Orange. They always take me home. Went back to SUNY Orange. I transferred into SUNY New Paltz 2021. I also started working for IBM as an intern. It was supposed to be a 6-month internship. It turned into about 3 years under Temple Pearson. He was my boss at IBM, and he taught me almost everything I know, almost, because PTech taught me the rest of it. And so I'll just go through the most important things that I learned. One, self-reflection. Nobody can tell you who you are unless you can tell you who you are first. You're not going to hear the negative comments other people have to say about you unless you can tell them to yourself first. My beautiful friend Tanaj Cook in the back, also P-Tech alum. She unfortunately has forced me to stand in front of the mirror many times, and face myself, unfortunately. Sense of urgency. They always used to say you don't have a sense of urgency. I do now. I get very nervous at things, and it's well deserved. You should get nervous when things are worth being nervous for. Pinpointing my motivation, knowing where that came from. At one point, it came from people telling me that I couldn't do it. And I realized that because Clifford Archie showed me, like, hey, all these people are waiting for you to not do it. And I'm like, hey, well, watch me do it. But now I think it's something different, which leads me into where I am now. Right now, I work for the NECSD as a long-term substitute teacher in a Spanish teaching position, which has honestly been the most fulfilling position of my life. I loved IBM, but it was not necessarily my home in the sense that I meant to work in technology. I think I'm meant to work with people, and I think I'm meant to work with students in education. With everything that I've learned here, I can honestly say that I look forward to being a forward-thinking, innovative, and educator with a growth mindset. And honestly, that's all because of what P-Tech has taught me today. Thank you.
I can take another round of applause. How could you get tired of hearing these P-Tech stories? I never get tired of hearing these P-Tech stories. Oh man, so motivational. Our next speaker, who's now employed by IBM, is Adisa Jenkins. Thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
Good evening, everyone. It's an honor to be able to see that from experience, and we'll have our own. I appreciate you guys taking some of this tonight. First and foremost, for those who don't know, my name is Jenkins. For those who do, my name is AJT. So remember that. The word of my story is development. So if you looked at my P-Tech route on a map, you could say this is not an idea route, but you can make it work. I remember coming into P-Tech, and I think my journey started, before I think I started this summer. Before that, I remember I had to sit down with Mr. Hoffman. I came with my mother, and he looked at me and he said, "You're born on the beginning of the program." And I said, "What do you mean by that?" He goes, "Your attendance at middle school is terrible." My job was to stop middle school, and it was part of it. So, no reason to be late. But Mr. Hoffman promised me that if I came to school on time, I did my work, I could save the program. That was a little rough, kind of, I didn't really come on time anyway, but we made it work. All I had in mind was to play sports. I was a sports kid. I was in basketball, so I didn't really have to focus in P-Tech. But as Rockman and Ms. Harold and the other teachers can tell you, I was kind of already. I was we all side the line sometimes, much that a little boring. But that didn't look me into doctors with P-Tech. I do recall Mr. Harvey giving me an opportunity to do our place to work. And I passed this opportunity. I didn't want to do it. And I envy you because you got Mr. Long. But I know that there's always opportunities in P-Tech and you got to take them. So going back to my route of P-Tech, my junior year became very envious of my peers. We have the list in here, some of you are the first generation of P-Tech. And compared to me, you guys are gifted. I envy you guys at how hard you work and how much you excel in the program. And even my fellow peers at P-Tech, you guys were geniuses in my mind. So I always look to you guys. And at some point in life, my switch slipped. Excuse me. And I realized that in order to succeed, I have to be just like you guys. I know you've been here today, but when I keep on outside the market, see that NASA. So for me, that's impressive. It might not amount to it, but I still want to get there one day. I of course didn't have a school start at P-Tech. I lived in Clayton for 4 to 6 years. And shout out to Ms. Rock because I actually failed my last class in my final semester of college. So I eligibility turned out to be out of the program, but it gave me a second opportunity to come back and compete. So I'm a soccer home on finance, so my thing is be patient, your time will come. All you guys excel sooner than I did before your program. I did envy you, but I knew, my route took me where I wanted to be. Given this opportunity to complete my associate's degree, I was also given an internship, and that opened me to the world of finance. I know the program was prior to, but I didn't really have a focus in it. I wanted to do finance. That's where I landed today. The internship opportunity showed me different opportunities and goals to go back again. That's what I also met right beside. She is one of the people I've met in my internship who helped me get a role in IBM. So thank you for that. I really appreciate it. I'm sorry. I always work I do to represent for, how people can take itself. So, again, thank you for the opportunity. And for alumni here, I do wish you guys to come back more often, participate in more things. More to come for the future. So, about the student rep, talk more about getting the visa.
Give Adisa another round of applause. I would just like to say that Adisa, your path is your path, right? It was meant to happen that way. And that's why, you're impacting so many young adults that you come. This young man came to my office a few weeks ago and said, Mr. Williams, how can I get involved? How can I give back? How can I, share my story? And that's why, it was meant for it to happen for you that way. It's not one path that's more special than the other. You were meant to do that. And, I'm happy that you decided to share it with the youth that's coming behind. Okay? So please give Adisa another round of applause. Next, we have one of our students who's also employed by IBM. It's Miss Amisa Cotton. Can I just share a story that you told us today? So today, this is my first time meeting Amisa, right? And she told me today when I introduced myself, do I know Shadon Brown? And I said, of course I know Shadon Brown. That was my student in Brooklyn, and I also coached her in track and field. And Shadon Brown is your supervisor at IBM. So, full circle moment.
Hi, everybody. First, I haven't ever really been presented the opportunity to say thank you to everyone who's been involved in the process. My perspective has always just been being a student and being able to see all the people who were involved and kind of get a deep understanding of that. I'm super appreciative of. So thank you to everybody involved in this. And I also kind of want to start with a funny story. So I think I find it funny that I'm here now talking in front of this group of people because I think in 10th grade I was tasked, maybe freshman year, I was tasked with having to present a final presentation or like a elevator pitch. We were supposed to do elevator pitch. And I completely shut down in front of everybody, started crying. It was not something I probably thought I would be repeating today. But the moral of the story is that I had the opportunity to come back. My teachers told me that I could do it again, and I did it again. And everything kind of just started to grow from there. So it's been a process, which is kind of the main theme of the story. So an introduction about myself, I'm Amisa. I graduated in 2020, and I also graduated with my bachelor's degree in public health in 2023. So it was a little bit unorthodox, the PSEC experience in Excelsior Academy.
Coming in as freshmen and we really know ourselves. We don't know really what we want to do. But the main thing that I think I got from it is that there was always going to be people who were there to support me. And then not only teachers, but the relationships we build with people who we are still growing with today. So shout out to my best friend Alana. And even not only Alana and not only my teachers, but also like seeing alumni like from the years before and the years after us. It's kind of just cool to see how this process has come along and it continues to grow. And so it is a unique and special opportunity, and I think the main goals are that we persevere and we practice hard skills that they kind of bring into us every day. Kayla kind of alluded to the fact that this is a very vigorous process and vigorous opportunity, but it also gives us opportunities to work on our soft skills. I think one of the main things I learned was empathy in my 4 years in my high school experience, and even now looking back today, it's just I'm super empathetic and I'm super appreciative of everyone who's been on this path along with me. And yeah, those soft skills that I learned throughout this process have also helped me gain numerous opportunities outside of the STEM fields in public health. So right now, I'm currently a HIV research associate in Washington D.C. and I work with people every day. Not the path that I guess you would expect, but I think the path kind of again that main topic of we each have our own path. And one of my one-liner for myself is if it doesn't challenge you, it doesn't change you. Sorry, I'm not here to preach. And I mean that's what P-Tech did. It challenged me. It made me self-reflect every day. It made me realize that I love working with people and I love public health. And honestly, it's just been an amazing experience. And all I can really do is smile. So thank you for your time.
Thank you so much, Lisa. Wow. Man, we have, like I said, you could never get tired of hearing these stories. And, I think back and listening to Lisa speak, and along with the other two students, and I think back to our open house we just had a few weeks ago. And one of the myths I try to dispel from, the P-Tech experience is that if you get this degree, if you take advantage of this opportunity, you have to be in this field, right? You can, Dr. Young just said, that you're still in the technology field, but you're doing something different. We have students at NASA, we have students in the law field, we have students in fashion, right? And it can give you those skills and that, that foundation that you can take and, and you utilize it in different fields and areas of life. So thank you for sharing that. Can you give another round of applause? So the next gentleman I'm going to introduce kind of gave me my opportunity into, to work in the P-Tech field. And I'll never forget, I was actually a director of campus life in Plattsburgh, New York, way up there by Montreal, Canada. And I had the opportunity to visit my old high school. And my old high school, I went to, it's called Paul Robeson High School. And years ago in New York City, when students weren't graduating at a high graduation rate, they started to close schools and open up schools that were smaller. They call them smaller learning communities. And Paul Robeson was closing, and I heard a lot of my alumni who graduated with me pissed off about this new school called P-Tech that was coming into that building. And I took a visit with, the principal, and didn't know that I was going to get offered a job in my meeting. But at the same time, it was also with an ultimatum that said, if I'm going to hire you, you're also going back to school to become an administrator. So I say that because, you know, I wouldn't be standing here today if I didn't get that opportunity, and I'm happy for that opportunity. And then, you know, full circle moment, you know, a year ago, I'm meeting with Ed Fortune, Dr. Manny Campbell, and Matt Dotto, who gave me the opportunity to be here. And everything full circle, I met Kevin 9-10 years ago, so I'm happy. So thank you guys, thank you all for giving me that opportunity. So I would like to introduce the founder, P-Tech principal in Brooklyn, Rashid Davis.
Good evening, and thank you all for being here. I want to start by reading something from my mentor, Stan Littow, who's not with us. And Stan wanted to make sure that he sent best wishes to everyone who's in attendance today. And here are some things I would have said had I been there. I have great pride in all that has been accomplished in Newburgh, New York, as the P-Tech innovative school movement demonstrated clearly over a 10-year period that the vision that many of us had of excellence for all can and has been fully realized. It resulted from the strong commitment from the P-Tech family in Newburgh. The school leadership, the faculty, the students, and their families, SUNY Orange and its faculty and administrators, the engagement from IBM and from the entire Newburgh community. When I wrote my book about P-Tech, which positively features the success of the Newburgh School, the cover photo on the book is of a Newburgh P-Tech graduation. And you can see in the joy and smiles of the graduates showing how much they benefited and appreciated the opportunity that P-Tech provided to them and their fellow scholars. I wish I could be with you in person, but you are and will be forever in my heart. Here's to 10 more successful years and many more. I will continue to be your champion. I would be remiss if I didn't underscore that Stan is a global champion. IBM, as the founding industry partner, there is a different order of business that the school that partners with IBM have that other schools who have a different industry partner do not experience. Okay? We're now in 28 countries, and the skills build over 100 countries. And so as I've always said, Kevin Austin has been my role model and hero, Mr. Dotto for being the executive principal to make this work first outside of New York City with IBM, a Fortune 100 company. Newburgh P-Tech is a celebration for all. And so when we think about partnership, sometimes we think only external. But I want to remind you today, it's the internal. You're not a jewel in this world. You are the jewel. We often hear high school, college, and industry. In your reality, it's high school, college, industry, and the board. Your reality is different than New York City. And that partnership of the board must be included. Because every single year, they have the option not to renew the principal's contract. And so because of the relationship, your reality in this global movement is different. And the 10 years of success needs to be shouted from the rooftops. So you're not, the partnership that you have isn't just a jewel, it really is the jewel. And I don't want you to leave here thinking that you're just coming, experiencing, and celebrating 10 years. You have work to do. You have stories to tell. I even seen some of you in here before, and I told you that you need to write your stories. Because this just doesn't happen. It just doesn't happen. We know the politics that go on in education, but you have to work with the board, high school, college, and industry. And to have a principal with a school within a school to make it work, I'm always saying that Newburgh is my inspiration because I understand how challenging it is. And I would be remiss if I didn't say when you came to the school, Principal Dotto, you saw teaching one of the exquisite math teachers who happened to be a future worker in the system, Miss Whaley. Really Whaley nowadays. And so it's important. But also, I'll just wrap up and say that I am beyond happy to be here 10 years later, to see the progress that you've made, to see also Mr. Williams in the role, but also it's assistant principal. And I'd be remiss if I didn't highlight two of Mr. Dotto's assistant principals. The internal partnership of this is what really makes it work. And I am
Thank you, Leslie Williams. Thank you so much. And for our former students that are here, Stan Littell's book, Breaking Barriers, all of you guys is going to be gifted a book on your way out today. So we have that book for you. Those of you who are in that first legacy class, we call it first class. It's a picture of you on the book. I want to see, I saw Azaria walking here. She's right in front of the book, raising her hands, celebrating that. I saw Azaria walking here. Okay, so you will get a free copy. It'll be at the table on your way out today, okay? We get a round of applause. So next, our degree is Associates of Science focused in cybersecurity, and we want to bring the chair of the cybersecurity department here at SUNY Orange, Mr. Bruce Roman. We want to bring him up to say, give him a round of applause.
Relax, everybody, it's less than a page. Before I get started, let me just, Kevin was one of the first people that I interacted with at NFA. In talking with Kevin in the beginning, I discovered that we took the same vitamins growing up. Clearly, I got the short end of the deal. It was a pleasure working with you back then in the earlier days. We have heard many times already today that P-TECH is a combination by definition of a high school, a community college, and a business partner. And I represent the middle component of that trinity. I represent SUNY Orange. I'm the department chair, as was said, for computer science and technology. And I also can tell you that every year I teach at least one P-TECH course in networking to the students here on this campus. And it's an experience. It is definitely a very special, and yeah, you'll get the drift of this in a minute, but it is something unique. I just want to say that I can bring a slightly different perspective to this whole thing. I am not a trained or a career educator, far from it. I worked in business, in corporate world for 40 years, first coding software for the first half and running data centers and manufacturing automation for the second half. So I don't come from that background that so many of you have devoted your lives to. And I would have to tell you, when I first came into the job, they did not tell me about P-TECH. I think they wanted to ease me into it slowly. When they finally got around to telling me that my department was the lead provider, it was initially perplexing. But, think of where I'm at. Let me get this straight now for a second. High schoolers are going to be able to earn an AS degree in cybersecurity concurrently while they're earning their high school diploma? What? You're kidding. I mean, could this really be for real? And it wouldn't cost the students anything extra? And get a load of this. There was no obligation on the part of the students to go on to a BS in their field or anything else. That wasn't the focus. The focus was the P-TECH program. Come on now. Even the US military requires you 4 years of enlistment after you get their education. Not here, not with this. No. Clearly, this was a privilege. Clearly, this is an educational gift, an opportunity for today's students that is unparalleled. Nothing like this existed when I was in high school. I'm not even sure high school was invented when I was back in high school. But back then, the biggest opportunity I could recall was senior trips to Hoboken to pick up litter on the beaches of New Jersey. That was all that we were given. Here, something very special clearly was happening. So I went about learning more about the P-TECH program once I was read in on this. And, I began by reading this very comprehensive book that's been referred to now many times. So complete in the explanation of the program from this book. I know some people sleep with this by their side, but I don't sleep with it, but it's handy. It's not too far away at any point in time. On page 102, very important reference, and let me paraphrase it. Open enrollment is the central feature of this program. P-TECH students get into the program by having the luck of being chosen in a lottery, not having the high grades, test scores, teacher recommendations, or, most fearful of all, vocal parental advocates. No. This was a program that they're saying is for everyone. And they're saying that it is something, an opportunity that everyone who wants it has an equal chance of being selected. Yes, there are pros and cons to this, but it is truly a novel concept. One that definitely shares the feelings, shares the passion of this educational program. Truly noble, truly novel in its origin, and really quite admirable. So join me in wishing P-TECH a happy 10th birthday, and may you have another 110 birthdays.
Thank you, Bruce. Can you give Bruce another round of applause? Next, we would like to invite NFA North former IBM liaison, Daniil Jacob.
Thank you. Hey, who's keeping track? We're on speech number 10. So we're going to start with a little song. Feel free to join in if you know it. I believe the children are the future. Teach them well and let them lead the way. Okay. Yes. Thank you. All right. Okay. Wow. So cheers to 10 years.
Yeah.
This last show, I'm not going to connect with the original. I appreciate this. Cliff's going to kill me. I connected with Cliff Archie, the original founding IBM liaison. He is very sad that he's not here tonight. He's in Texas, but he did give me some words to share with you. So here we go. It doesn't take. Okay. I also brought tissues. If anybody needs them. All right. It doesn't seem like that long ago that Mr. Rothman and I were planning in a tiny NFA main office in May of 2014, surrounded by boxes and unclear on what was going to await us in just a few short weeks with summer programming. That first cohort will always hold a special place in my heart for their willingness to trust adults as we built the plane flying it. All right. It's because of their enthusiasm, willingness to buy in, and leadership that Excelsior Academy became what it is. Between the educators that I had the pleasure of working with, the students I was able to get to know, and the impact we were able to make together, my years at NFA were the best of my career and the job I will always love most. Thank you so much. Congrats to everyone who built the program, graduated, and continues to make it an example for career-relevant education today. Now that was a tough act to follow. In June 2017, I had the honor of becoming the second IBM liaison at NFA PTech. And just a few weeks before the summer internships kicked off, it was a busy whirlwind, ordering laptops, securing offices, confirming the managers and mentors who were volunteered stepped up to host that inaugural cohort of PTech interns. Now, it is often said that the best thing about IBM is the people, the IBMers. So I'd like to take a moment to recognize some of those IBMers who have been on this PTech journey. Please raise your hand or stand if you're able, if over the past 10 years, you built a marble ramp, safely landed an egg drop or launched a bottle rocket, had Panera or pizza for lunch with the students, participated in a Chic and STEM event, led an e-week activity, gave a tour of the IBM office, reviewed resumes or LinkedIn profiles, participated in mock interviews, hosted interns, volunteered as mentors, and more. If you've heard me shout, if you can hear my voice, clap once. Please stand up, raise your hand. I know the countless hours you spent are above and beyond your day job, and I thank you all. Now, although I no longer report to Mr. Woloszewski's class on Friday mornings in my IBM uniform, echoing Viv Archie, I look back on those years with great joy. It was a job that I loved. I think of the PTech students regularly when there are fruit snacks at the IBM fruit station. And I brought some here tonight, if you need a treat. If you know me, you know I love the intern to IBM journey. I have photos in my office of each intern cohort since 2017. Also, our Chic and STEM events, our quantum tour, our COVID graduation with an ice cream truck. Some of here is old fashioned, but it's right. I'm also thankful to see that the PTech intern to IBM journey continues to come full circle. Over the past 2 years, I've hosted PTech interns virtually at IBM Research and People. And in 2023, Zoila was my first PTech intern while working with me in Yorktown Heights in person at IBM Research. And I didn't even know she would apply. I just approved her offer. It came across my desk. It was amazing. Earning her master's degree. So it's online. I love you. Last month, I was in Poughkeepsie volunteering. Thank you to my team for setting it up. And I was volunteering to mock interview sessions, preparing the PTech students for this summer's internship. And who was there? Our intern to IBMers were volunteering beside me. And just this week today, I was conducting interviews with NFA PTech students to host this summer at IBM Research as level 2 PTech interns. I interviewed her like 5 hours ago and just gave her a hug. It's a great day. So can't wait. I'm convinced that one day I'll be interviewing for a role where a PTech graduate will be my manager. I'll wrap up with advice from my IBM manager, turned mentor and friend, Heidi Kramer. Remember, networks wide and skills deep. No one can take away the education that you've earned. Your academic and professional path is your own. And the world is a better place with you in it. And wherever you may work one day, at any company, they are fortunate to have you on their teams. It's been said that the true meaning of life is to plant trees under whose shade you do not expect to sit. And I want to thank our partners, NECSD, SUNY Orange, IBM, the state of New York, for planting trees within our PTEC community. To benefit PTEC team and Alvin, teachers, Mr. Alvin, the best educational team I've ever worked with. And thank you, Stan and Rashid, for planting your first. Everything social recorded and posted. Careers may look like a smooth, steady ladder on LinkedIn, but in reality, they're more like a playground structure. Some days you're on the swings with monkey bars, and others you're on a slide. Keep your networks wide. You never know how the people you know now will continue to be in your life in years to come. Take the time for those coffee chats, for the tea talks, enjoy the journey, celebrate your hard work. And to the PTEC students and alumni, no longer children, but incredible, awesome, talented, amazing adults, wherever you are, you are our future.
Thank you so much. So for the former students, you know, the PTEC liaison role is so important, IBM liaison, to the, you know, to the way the school runs. Now, we no longer have IBM liaisons, but IBM now have co-ops that we hire students to actually fulfill some of those responsibilities. And, you know, two of our co-ops here is Layla and Marissa. Layla is a senior, Marissa is a junior. They're going to introduce themselves.
Good evening, folks. Y'all are not lively enough for me. I know it's late in the evening, but good evening. All right. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Layla Barth. I'm currently a senior at our lovely PTEC and the senior co-op.
Hi everyone, my name is Marissa Dahlfinger. I'm currently a junior and I am the junior co-op.
Okay, so now it's time for what you've all been waiting for, our trivia prizes. Funny enough, none of you got a 5. That's okay, the questions were real hard. I looked up. But we're gonna start off with our folks who got close to a 5, a 4. So. Kyle Villano, come up and grab your prize. Ariana Camacho, let's go, come on. Miss Kayla DeLeon, yeah. And lastly, we have Jackson Fielding Clark. Where you at? Okay, next up, we have our next group. Look. We were really proud to find out that most of the people who got the highest scores were PTEC alumni. So kudos to y'all. Y'all know about your school. So since there are a lot of you, Marissa's going to choose one and then call you up and come grab your prize.
Matthew Wasson?
Now, again, we have our last category, which is who haven't attended our P-TECH schools, but still know relatively about us. So we have something for y'all. Nancy Boyden, I apologize. Give it up for one more time for our folks who go on the video.
So this was our P-TECH trivia, just so you guys all know. These were the 5 questions. Each P-TECH school has 3 partners. Who was those partners?
Correct answer, SUNY Orange.
What year did P-TECH start?
2014 is the 10-year anniversary.
So we had a list of, it says P-TECH has had partnerships with all the following organizations except, and the answer was?
Boys and Girls Club.
So we gotta get on that. So we gotta work on that. What is the name of our founding P-TECH IBM liaison pictured on the right watching the 2017 solar eclipse? And we had an order of events, labeled the following events in order that occurred. First being the earliest and 5th being the most recent. Number 1, NFA P-TECH changes its name from original name to Excelsior Academy, from the original name from Excelsior Academy. The first cohort of P-TECH students begin their summer internship at IBM. I'm saying it in the wrong. Okay.
First one, NFA P-TECH changes its name from the original name. Excelsior is
Matt.
yes. Okay, and then it goes, the first cohort of P-TECH students begin their summer internship at IBM.
Yep.
That was the right. Okay, and then 16 P-TECH 11th graders traveled to Ecuador to volunteer for 11 days. That's number 2, right? Mr. Rothman passes the leadership baton to Mr. Williams as house principal. That's number 5. And then Mr. Dotto attends one of the first planning meetings bringing P-TECH to New York. That's number 4.
A round of applause.
I just want to let you guys know we do have copies of the book you've been hearing about pretty much all night, which is Breaking Barriers. So make sure to grab your copy before you leave. They're free. Thank you, guys.
Give a round of applause for our IBM co-op. So you guys have a seat. I'm sorry. So we mentioned how important the IBM liaison role was. We have 2 students who are here, who's fulfilling some of those responsibilities. But I'll be remiss if I don't shout out one of our parents, Rebecca here, who also works for IBM and has a son in that program, who works tirelessly in helping us fill it. Can you say that, Rebecca? Our other superstar liaison, actually our only liaison right now, our superstar liaison, who's not only a liaison, but he's an instructor in our program. He teaches some of our cybersecurity classes, Mr. John Kuntz. Can we give him a round of applause? So I'm going to bring Mr. Dotto and back up here to actually have one of our final recognitions of the night. And Mr. Roth.
Where are those tissues? Bring them back up. So I think the program this evening really spoke to why this is so not only successful but powerful. is kind of the word that I was thinking of as we listened to everyone speak. You know, on the program, you have Christine Harrell listed there. So, but why is she listed there? So, as you noticed earlier, she was recognized as the founding school counselor. Just really quickly, I'd like to state that she kind of like pushed her way into P-TECH as a counselor. She kind of elected herself as a counselor without any prior approval. But that speaks to the passion of what Christine Harrell did. I would like to ask my staff to come up, the teachers, the assistant principals, please come up to the podium up here. So the teachers, Ms. Rivera, Ms. Flores, please come up. Who else? Anybody else from our staff? Not yet. It's coming. Mr. Rothman, Mr. Williams. So this is a big part of our staff at NFA North that has had a little bit to do with the last 10 years and the success of the program. We, when Rashid spoke, he was emotional because of what this means. Danil spoke to what it meant to her and what it meant to others because she was a part of it. When Kevin and I kind of set on this journey 10 years ago, 11 years ago really, it was because, as I mentioned earlier, about the opportunity for our scholars. There's just not enough words to really express what this means. The reason why I asked the staff to come up, this was kind of planned, didn't know that I was doing this, because I think it's important as we recognize Ms. Harrell, it needs to come from a family atmosphere and a family togetherness that we all share. The good, the bad, the ugly, right? Christine and I have worked together for over 20 years, a century. Yeah. And I can't tell you enough, one of the most important reasons why P-TECH is successful is because of Ms. Harrell. And what she has provided as a counselor, not just doing scheduling, but as a counselor, a true counselor to students, to staff, to provide them also with the opportunity of being successful. And as you can see, when the students spoke, the alumni spoke, that's what it's all about. That's why we do what we do, as I said earlier. So what we're doing today, I wanted the staff here, when we present Ms. Harrell, who, by the way, the reason why we're doing this is also that Ms. Harrell is retiring this year. I don't know if you all knew that. So there'll be more celebrations of Ms. Harrell because obviously between now and June, there's a lot of time to really talk about other retirees, but especially Ms. Harrell. So Ms. Harrell, if you can please come up to the podium. So there's no one thing, there really are not a lot of ways to express how you care about someone, because the words are endless, and you can, and most of you would agree, that, especially when you think about Ms. Harrell and the way you met in her office, had conversations, that it was always about how to get you to be successful, right? As students, you guys knew that. For us as colleagues, and again, that's why, not just symbolically, but this is why we do what we do. I keep saying that tonight because that's really, to me, at least to my heart, this is what this is about. it's hard to really, on a personal level, knowing Ms. Harrell a long time and, not to get. She, I'm gonna say this, I have to say this. In addition to what she has meant to us and to me, I don't know if you're aware of what Ms. Harrell did. What's coming full circle is that on April 11th, next week, is my wife's 10th anniversary, ironically. That my wife, my now wife, had a cardiac arrest while talking to Ms. Harrell. Not many of you know this. While she was talking to Ms. Harrell, she just dropped. Ms. Harrell came to her aid immediately and saved her life. The doctors till this day, and we're actually going to have a celebration next week for the 10th anniversary of her, really, Ms. Harrell saving her life. The doctors still, this day, said if it wasn't for her, for Ms. Harrell, she would not be alive today. My wife would not be alive today. Why did that come up? I have no idea why you just said this story. But I do want to make it personal, but this person right here is one of the most important people that we have, not only in this district, but in the world. And it's true. And, I appreciate you allowing me to share that personal piece, but she is one of the most caring people I know, even when we fight. Yeah, we do. And one of the most appreciative and respectful of what she does. That's one of the most important things that I believe. She respects what she does, and that's what makes her so good at her job. We are going to absolutely miss you in this role. And also, like that. Let's just, at this point, let's just give her a round of applause. I can't. Would you like to say a few words? Sure.
Give me that microphone. Oh, Pete, yes, thank you for standing up with me. So last year for the seniors, we had the senior thing, and I did sing Mariah Carey's "Wanna Dance with Somebody." I'm not gonna do that tonight, but I've been known to do it. Okay, so I only got a few things to say. You will not hold up that paper, girl. Rip it up right now. Okay. So over the past 10 years, whenever anybody asks, I have been known to say with deep emotion and real intent that NFA P-TECH is statistically the very best P-TECH program on earth. You've heard me say this, I say it all the time. With feeling, we are statistically the very best on earth. I have said this to students, parents, politicians, reporters, other P-TECH people who don't care. I've said it to them too. I would like to take this opportunity to clarify when I say statistically the best P-TECH program on earth, it's because of everybody in this room right now. The statistics are our shiny alumni. They're just shiny. They make me smile all the time. Our dedicated teachers, our supportive district, our community. I brag about this program all the time. People ask me what I do. They start yawning about 15 minutes later. I talk about it all the time. I'm very proud of my involvement in P-TECH. In statistics, the very best P-TECH on earth. I'm excited to see where this program is going. I feel very confident to be leaving right now because of Mr. Williams.
We have new students, we have a new principal, we're gonna have a new counselor, we may have new corporate partnerships, we're gonna have new visibility in the community. When I dropped my kids off at college, I was not my own children. I was not the typical parent. All my friends were coming back from it sobbing. Like, oh my God, I'm gonna miss my baby. And I had a smile on my face after dropping off my kids because I was like, God, the experiences they're gonna have. I'm just so happy for them right now. I did not cry. I am not crying leaving it. I am so happy for all of you. This is gonna be friggin' great. It's gonna be great. Thanks for having me on board. It's been wonderful.
So to everybody who I call Ms. Harold, she's the glue. She is the glue. From a former counselor, P-TECH counselor at that, I know and I appreciate everything that you do. I've also had the pleasure of being in that seat, and it's not a traditional role, and you are appreciated, and your work is impacted so many lives. Ms. Harold talked about a little bit about where we're headed. And I want to recognize some of our industry partners, that we are also going to be working with in the future. We had Semiconductors here, which is a computer manufacturing company, who also hired 5 of our students. Eric is here. And we have some students who actually work for the company here. Can you stand up? So if those of us alumni in the room, right now, Osemi is hiring interns. They have 16 spots for engineers and 16 spots for techs, right? We're also going to be working with our school district, our technology department, who's also going to provide us a few internships this summer as well. So my grandmother used to say success is measured by bringing others along. And I can't say, as not even a year yet in this position, how proud I am, not only of the faculty and staff and all the partners, but the alumni that are so happy to come back. And people could say whatever they want to say, but it's nothing, there's students who never visited high school, who never come back and visit their teachers, but we have alumni that constantly come back. I mentioned earlier about Adisa coming, setting up a meeting with me and ask how can we get involved. Right now, Adisa and Kayla DeLeon, who's also our assistant college liaison, who's also a P-TECH graduate. She's in the room. Can you stand up, Kayla? Eliana DeLeon. Eliana, is Eliana's? Eliana, I got it just for Kayla. So Eliana and Adisa is actually working on our Instagram page right now. And hopefully, in the future, we can turn that into a P-TECH on our website. They're doing that in Colorado for the entire state. We want to be a part of the first, school to do that here in New York. So we're going to be working on that. So the alumni will be reaching out to you guys and just, stay involved. I'm going to reach out to all of you. I have your information now, and continue to do what you're doing. You are an inspiration to us all. We learn as much from you as you learn from us. And I want to thank everybody for coming out. So please, thank you and thank everybody. Can I get some group photos of some of our alumni up here now? You guys come up. Well, I would like to conclude the evening, and I want to thank everybody for coming out.